There are many, many videos coming out now where people who mean well, they are talking about having an out-of-body or astral projection experience where God had taken them to hell to witness people being burned and tortured and in perpetual suffering, and that this was given to them to come back and tell others to give into a power or force outside of them, or this will be their fate. Now, there is much being exposed in terms of the level of deception that has been going on this planet for so very long. For a long time, these were looked at as conspiracy theories, whack cases, and then some. A great deal of this stuff is out in the opening now. Those of us who are deceptive are connected in that it's not just on the earth school or sphere, it is on the astral and beyond. And yes, it is one cohesive mind construct or mind prison. Now, those of us who feel with all of our hearts that their trip to hell was God's way of choosing them to save people. Yes, from our perspective, that is a very good intent. If I knew that if someone would do something that would cost them their soul and their lives, I would absolutely ring the alarm and let them know, which is what I am doing. But I don't do it from a deceptive or fear-mongering perspective, although sometimes the line are drawn or the lines can be very blurred. Why? Because sometimes the truth is scary. Sometimes the truth is very uncomfortable. But it being scary or uncomfortable would not change the reality of things. And the reality of the matter is that there are those of us who are using extreme negativity and terror to bring people under control or under submission, under food, for psychic food, for feeding, to prevent those of us from ever having or acknowledging or finding that we have been the Christ and the God that we have been looking to save us all along. Why do these beings do this too? Is that because of their extreme service to self-nature, they are cut off from manifesting. But they are still in consciousness in terms of how to manipulate. They are master manipulators, but they cannot manifest. Those of us who are gods and goddesses and in amnesia are master manifestors. We can manifest. The problem is that most of us are not in control of our own power. We are giving it to the very forces that are manipulating and deceiving us, and they are taking our power and using it against us. This is true here on earth with all the fraud that's coming out about the banking industry. Oh, and there's a lot more to come out about that. And in politics and religion, even the New Age movement, there's just absolutely nowhere we can turn where the deception is not present. However, if we were in God and Goddess consciousness, we could better discern. We cannot discern when we are in a state of shamefulness, a state of great insecurity, a state of self-hatred, a state of fear, terror, depression, anxieties, so on and so forth. These are low vibratory thought projections. They emit a frequency. And those who are trapped in their own supernova egos have access to this frequency, which is what leads them to many of us. And what these beings do is that they can plant things and visions into a suggestible mind. A suggestible mind meaning one who is open due to the frequency that they are on. A low vibratory entity cannot manipulate and control the mind of someone who is vibrating at a higher frequency in their thought projection and mind consciousness. They simply cannot, but they can, and they do, and have always manipulated the minds of those of us who are vibrating in a low vibratory state. So we have so many of our confused, scared, terrified brothers and sisters who have not awakened to their God and Goddess consciousness, who these beings are coming in and taking them to the astral realm where they, yes, have other souls who didn't quite make it over and in their own fear have given power to them and are trapped in the lower astral realm. And they, thankfully, there are brothers and sisters of the highest good or of spirit who are going there and trying to rescue those souls or trying to wake them up. They can plant a scenario in our minds, and from one whose perspective is, oh, I'm just a little sinner and I'm just weak mortal and I have no power, from someone who is in that state of consciousness, it is very easy for these beings to convince you that they are God or the God of all there is. And so those of us who fall for the trickery and the deception are then become agents, unbeknownst to them, to go out and propagate more fear and terror to bring more people or more souls into the fold to further propagate the terror and the fear-mongering. Either worship something outside of us or suffer dire consequences. Let's not forget that when it's me, worship me, it's all about me, this is not of one who is in higher God and Goddess consciousness. This is one who is in supernova ego. These jinns and demons and all these beings that many of us have come to label, many of them, and this is going to be a big shocker, but I am speaking from my gut, and I'm just going to keep it real. Many of them were extraterrestrial. Many of them are extraterrestrial. When I say they were, meaning they had died, actually died physical death in the way we understand physicality, died a physical death on earth, but they are now disembodied, trapped in their own ego and on the astral plane. Due to their extreme ego, they cannot manifest, but they remember. So they can use their memory to manipulate those of us who can manifest, but have forgotten that we can or are manifesting. Then you have those who are physical in the sense that we believe physicality to be, but they move in between dimensions with a service to self, meaning it's all about me. Worship me, obey me, be subservient to me, and I will bless you and give you a good life, give you material gain, give you power, etc., etc. So, it is time that we come clean and be real about this. There is absolutely nothing that I'm saying that we cannot find out for ourselves. The problem is that we're looking for the answers that we seek out here. And whenever we look out here, look at the history of the world. Whenever we look out here, it is nothing and brings nothing but more confusion and chaos. And that is the way those who are deceptive have designed us to be and want us to continue being. Because the Christ that we are all seeking and wanting to exalt, or the God that we're all looking for and looking to exalt, has always been here. But as long as we remain unconscious and trusting gods out here who have an agenda that does not serve the highest good of all, which is what the prime source is really all about, we set ourselves up to be trapped, manipulated, and deceived.